So I'll just go through the list of the varying ingredients that are used. Rolled oats. We've got our seasonings. Well, let's go through the grain. We've got rolled oats. A lot of times I like to put in kasha or buckwheat groats. You want to get the raw kind rather than the already toasted. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, flaxseed, that will then get ground up. And you're welcome to add any other kind of nuts that you're interested in, walnuts, almonds. And then the seasonings that we like to use are cinnamon, ginger, cayenne pepper, and sometimes a little curry powder, but not too much. A pinch of salt. Then our liquids are just a plain vegetable oil. We're using, actually this mostly what we use is sunflower seed oil. And butter. But if you want to make it vegan, you can omit the butter and just use the oil. For a sweetener, we're using a little bit of honey. Again, if you want to make it a strict vegan granola, then you can use something like maple syrup or agave nectar. That works too. So those are our ingredients. So when I make granola, I like to make it in big batches. It keeps for a long time. So I'm going to make a double batch. But the single batch, we're starting with 24 cups of oats. And we've got, this is our buckwheat, kasha. We've got 4 cups of buckwheat. 4 heaping cups of sunflower seeds, and another 4 heaping cups of pumpkin seeds, and say about, this is the ground flaxseed, and the reason that I grind it up is because it's a little bit easier to digest once it's ground up. If you just have the whole seed, it just kind of goes right through you. So we got a 1/4 cup and some here per batch. And so that's all of our grains and seeds. Salt, just like a pinch of salt, just for some taste. And I'm a little low on cinnamon, but I'm usually doing about 4 heaping tablespoons per batch of cinnamon. But if you don't like it so cinnamony, you can do a little less cinnamon. And then the ginger adds a really nice spice, about 3 heaping tablespoons of ginger, and cayenne just to give it that last little kick. Woo! Just about 1/2 tablespoon. And I thought since I was a little low on cinnamon, I'd add curry. And again, you don't need a lot of curry, maybe just a nice heaping tablespoon of curry. That'll add some fun color and kind of just like a sweetness of a taste mixed with the ginger is really quite nice. So that's our dry ingredients that will then mix all together. I guess one point to make is we will add raisins at the very end once it's all baked. So if you were wondering where the fruit part comes in, that's at the very end. You really don't want to add any of your dried fruits until the end. Otherwise, when you're baking them, you'll most likely burn your fruits. So now we're mixing our oils together, our liquidy type ingredients. I've got a stick of butter in my little saucepan, and this is the sunflower oil. We're adding approximately, if you want to take a look here, maybe it's 3 cups. Just enough to cover up the butter, about a pinch or so. So I go pretty light on the honey. And say probably about 2 cups we've got going in. About medium heat. because once everything starts to melt, it might have a tendency to actually boil over once those sugars start getting heated up. So you want to keep an eye on it so that you don't lose your oil and honey. So the butter has melted and everything has mixed. Let's just pour this. Make sure. I put a little too much oil. The possibility, if you get it a little too wet, is just that it might burn more easily or just get a little too sticky and stick to the pan. That's been a little bit of my experience. But this looks good. Everything is thoroughly kind of wetted, and you'll get nice little clumps of granola together. Then the next step is to heat your oven to 350 degrees, and we'll lay this out on trays. If it's too thin, it will definitely burn. If it's too thick, then it will just take a little longer to toast up. Just might not toast as evenly. And set a timer for 10 minutes. Then go back and take out the tray. Give it a nice flip with a nice spatula. Flip it all around. Then stick it back in for another 10 minutes. Until it gets nice brown on the top. And so depending on your oven, maybe you'll want to flip it again, give it another 5 minutes or so, but overall it shouldn't take more than about a half an hour for the final baking. And then once the baking is done, take your trays out, let the granola cool completely, and then you can add any of your dried fruits that you would like, and give it a flip around to get it nice and evenly baked. Go ahead and spread it out again. It's nice having these giant trays to work with. Nice and golden brown, and they're ready to sit on the rack and cool. So now that our granola has completely cooled, we have the raisins. This is the time to add your dried fruit. And again, you can add dried cranberries, raisins, apple pieces, anything that suits you. Sometimes I've heard there's dried blueberries, all sorts of things. And just mix it around until it's just the consistency that you like.